Hello, this is Mac again, and this is Refocusing Barbados. We are so happy that we can talk to you and discuss issues that are facing our country at this very, very critical time. There hasn't been a lot to shout about recently. There hasn't been much good news other than the governor of Central Bank stating that the foreign reserves are stabilized. I asked a question in my last video, but I haven't received a response, and I would ask the question again. How many applications are there before the Central Bank awaiting approval that have not been approved? And the other question I want to ask, if these applications are approved, if they're there and they're waiting for approval and they are approved, what will it do to our foreign reserves? This is the time of the year when businesses start to stockpile for Christmas. They just want to have a very good Christmas, so they know that the demand will increase, even if only marginally. But as I look at what is happening to us, what is happening to this country, and the real serious challenges that it's facing, I listen to the reports coming out from many institutions and persons other than the government, I must say. I am of the opinion that our country is facing genuine economic collapse. It isn't something that I'm proud to talk about, because I know we are better than this. It isn't something that is good to talk about, because there are a lot of people hurting. And if an economy collapses, it means that there are a lot of people who are going to lose their homes, lose their businesses. Families will feel the severe effects of such a collapse. But I'm wondering, and that's the human impact, but I'm wondering, judging from this calm that I have sensed over the last few weeks, what are Bajans saying to themselves about the economy? Have they accepted what is happening? Are they saying to themselves that better can't be done? I will not accept that better can't be done, because we are better than this. And one of the things that politicians over the years have taken for granted is that we are a very resilient people. And there seems to be a total disregard for our resilience. They seem not to think of the best interest of our people. And what happens is that we are a very conservative people, shy people, and we tend to take whatever is meted out to us very quietly. But when you look at the prospect of genuine economic collapse, you can only look at it in terms of some things may have to die and fossilize in order that they might live again. We might have to go through such great pain in order for us to be careful next time we do national job interviews. The next time we go to the polls, it may mean that we will have to be very, 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 very careful about the complement of people that form the government and the complement of people that go to Parliament. And that's why I say something may have to die and fossilize and not even live again. Because we cannot do the job interviews, national job interviews, and be absent from the interviews. Or we cannot neither can we be sentimental about those job interviews. Because a part of what we are experiencing today is because of our sentimentality. It doesn't work, and has shown that it's worked against us time and time again. But the question I'm going to ask today is, how can we get back on track? Because we need to get back on track. We have to begin with a change of attitude. Attitude towards work, attitude towards education. It has to do with our responsibility towards ourselves. And every day we have people all across this country showing up in business places, in government, in various institutions. They're showing up at the workplace, but they're absent from the job. This is unsustainable, because we have become very unproductive. In any country that has a serious productivity crisis such as the one we have, we will always face genuine economic collapse. It costs too much for us to get the job done. And that's one of the serious things that we have to address. We have to be honest with ourselves about this. We need to do a full and critical assessment of our institutions. We need institutional reform. And I want to look at the central bank as one of those critical and important institutions that was created to protect the Barbados economy. And we have seen in the recent past that central bank figures are not in line with figures from the statistical department. Why is this? And why haven't we as a people been outraged about this? This is a very serious problem that we have. We cannot afford for an institution like the central bank to be compromised. And that's why I say, when we do those national interviews, every 5 years, we got to be careful that we ask the right questions. We have to vet our politicians. It is not about them. It's about us. We have a job, they want the job, so they have to meet the demands for the job, of the job. Second, we need to overhaul our education system. And this is something that I will not play around with. It's a very serious thing. You're talking about the lifeblood of the country. You're talking about the future of our people, the future of our country. Why do we educate our people? Why? What's the purpose of our education? What is the type of Barbadian we are trying to make? What is the end game? Do we have an end game in mind? What is the Barbados brand? Are we educating our people to produce a brand? Until the formal and informal conditioners have a clear understanding and a clear focus, we are going to have problems like the one we are having now. We cannot afford to have the home being absent or the church being absent as far as educating our people. We cannot afford to have kindergarten. We can't afford to have primary, secondary, college, university education not to be focused. We must have all these areas of our educational system pointing towards something. And as I look at what is happening, how our education system is being ravaged because we have poor managers of our economy, I'm thinking that the dream that a lot of parents and young people have, those dreams are going to die. We need to make our young people dream again. We have to know what it is that we want from our institutions. We also have to know what is required of our politicians. I'm a very sad person. I must be honest. I'm very, very sad. And I'm not angry. I'm sad. Because I know we are capable of better than this. We are capable of more. But we have too many people who are absent from the discussion. Who are not showing up for the discussion. A lot of brilliant people who have decided to be absent. And the country is calling for people to stand up and to start putting in place and start to have a discussion about the future of our country. So many people who are brilliant, who are bright, who just say to themselves, I don't want to be a part of it. So to do that is to have a disregard of your duty. Because some of you may be thinking, it doesn't bother me, I am not troubled at all. I am protected. But I must say to you that at some point in time it's going to reach your doorstep. And then, what will you do? And I'm going to show you why I am a very sad person. I'm going to look at some things in our country that happened over the past few years that have made me sad. The project at Coverley. This is a project that's foreign to the experience of Barbadians. When Barbadians leave the villages and the tenantries, they don't want to go in a cubbyhole. It was one of those nonsensical projects that had no right being in a country such as ours. the execution of the concept was really lacking. It was very poor. I can understand they may want to put in various amenities and so on. I can understand. But I have a piece of advice for those people who are responsible for that project. And this is my advice to you. Remove every other house in that area. Remove every other house. Give the prospective homeowners a chance to expand those homes. So thus they become like a starter home. I know you want to extract the greatest profit, right, from the land area. But it doesn't make sense because you have a project where people are not buying into it. People do not want to go up there. And the money is too much, it's too costly. Take out every other home. Go back and get a total reassessment of the property. Get it surveyed again. Give the people more land space, and I'm sure you're going to sell every one of those homes. A lot of those city, North American restrictions that you have, remove those. Because you're not accustomed to that. And you understand why a minister will sit down and okay something like that. It shows there's a lack of foresight. I remember when that project was conceptualized and they started to build those projects. I said to my wife, you see that foolishness there? That's foreign to Barbadians. Barbadians are not going to go in there. Why would Barbadians want to go in? There's nothing about that. That's like living in the Orleans. And if you give the people in the Orleans a chance, they will guilt it down in there. And you want to pay all that money for a cubby hole? The other thing that saddens me is the lack of economic direction. We had the medium-term fiscal strategy. Every year we have a budget. They call it a budget. But every year the minister presents something he calls a budget, with no sense of reality attached to it, has no focus. The revenue he expects to collect, he doesn't collect. There is no economic direction. In fact, there's a lack of policy. And you know what makes it worse in our hard economy? The behavior of ministers. The behavior of ministers. I'm sure a lot of Bajans are upset and angry to see that they have been put out of jobs, sent home before the saint. Some of them losing their homes. Some of them can barely feed their children. Some can't send their children to UE. And yet still ministers are driving big, expensive vehicles. Now that is adding insult to injury. And that's why when we say we are refocusing Barbados, we want Barbados to take a serious look at themselves and their institutions, and to have a very critical look with the view of reforming our country. I'm going to say again, we need national reform. We can't do it too soon. I'm going to say again, I'm going to say over and over again, we need an interim administration to take over and to preside over our economy. We need to have an interim administration who will not be bowed down or tied to the politics of the political parties. We have capable men and women in this country who can really take this country forward. The people are there. We have the resources in terms of our people, and that's what we need to change our present economic circumstances and to avert genuine economic collapse. We need to get back on track. But because of the political culture that exists within our country, I'm saying I don't see any way out for us. Because this political culture that we have is all about the politician. Politicians are in love with themselves. And it isn't what can I do, what utilitarian approach I can take for our country. And it's like a mad scramble. Everybody got scrambled for himself. We need national reform again and again, I'm going to say. We need an interim administration to take over the affairs of government for at least 5 years to help start to put this country on a solid economic footing. We have the people, we have the skilled people to do this job. We can get it done. We have done it before. We can do it again. From now to the next general election, it's about 4 years, just short of 4 years. So much can happen in that time. So much can happen in that time. Don't forget, 270,000. We got the strength, we got the power. Let's do it. Thank you.